Hello there, welcome to part 3 of my little Boogie-Woogie series. Hopefully you've enjoyed part 1 on the left hand, part 2 with a little composition I wrote for you to learn. This part 3 is the result of me listening to a lot of Boogie-Woogie and having a little look at some other videos on YouTube. And what I've done is consolidated what I've heard into a little list of 5 main techniques that the right hand does in Boogie-Woogie/blues. And hopefully you'll be able to personalize them and apply them to even part 2 where I created that composition, and you can maybe go around the 12 bar blues 2, 3, 4 more times using these ideas. Boogie-Woogie is often played in the key of C, so we'll do it in that key, not because I like it but because it's the most common, and hopefully you're going to find this of use. Timestamps are below. As always, the likes, comments, subscriptions are always welcome. Have a look at my video management website, water pianism syllabus, and perhaps Patreon. All the goodies are below. So the first one is very, very common. This is about 95%. All of these, when you combine them, are about 95% of Boogie-Woogie. There's 5% of other fancy stuff that you can find by listening. First one is where you just take the chord and you bang it, basically. So I've got this section is about banging a chord or rolling a chord, and I'm going to show you some ways to do that, some chords which are quite common. You can also, everything I'm talking about, you can either do it by straight Boogie-Woogie, which is just, well, it's very, very straight, instead of, or there's swung Boogie-Woogie, where it's got a bit more of a lilt, which is quite nice. So the first one is, like I say, banging or rolling chords. What does that mean? Well, first of all, the best way to practice this is to just take the main root position 7th, C7, F7, G7, and bang it. So I'll just do it maybe with this one. And you just simply bang it. You can play inversions and you can put grace notes, but let's just build up to that. So you'll literally just play. That. So if you see what I did there, I literally did everything. I played the chord, I slid off the minor, you can slide off the flat 5, and I played an inversion of F7. But I could have just done the root position. I could not have glided a note. That's very, very common. And if I do that with this Boogie-Woogie straight, same thing. I'll go to F immediately. So you can do the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's swinging or straight. I'll mix and match throughout this video. Now, there's a couple of nice chords which work. One of them is a 13th chord, but as a cluster. And that is where you put the 6 and the 7 next to each other. And that just works. In the F. Like, even just playing those 2 notes sounds good because it's a 6 and the 7th, and in jazz theory that's a 13th chord. But of course we want to make it a bit more bluesy. So we'll put the 3 in there and the 9. And you can do that. See, I'm sliding off the flat 6 there, just to make it sound a bit. I guess you could slide off the 3rd as well. You get the idea. That's the kind of thing that happens. Now, that's great. Another thing is to do all of that up here, which sounds quite nice. So you play 2 or 3 octaves high. You can be really high up here, which is almost off my camera, but I'm just playing a C7. So if I just do this one, I mean, that's quite a common thing to do. Let me do one with F here, but with the shuffle. So you just move around with those chords, banging them, smashing them. Now, the rolling idea of this is a couple of different ways. You can literally just roll. Well, you literally just do that in time. Just depends what rhythm you're doing in the left hand. Of course, there's all variation, but the idea is you're banging the chord, you're sliding, you're banging the chord down there, you're banging it up there, or you're rolling it. This is the first one, like I say. You really want to hear the individual notes. They can't be like lazy, or it doesn't really sound very nice. It really has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, staccato. Let's turn this up a bit for myself, actually. So that was quite nice. So you notice how I'm emphasising the first one. It's just going. sounds quite nice. And you can even double that note. Anyway, that's with the 7 on top. You can do that just with a major chord. That happens quite a lot. You can play it with a 6 chord. So here what I'm doing is I'm playing the chord twice and then rolling down and then doing it twice again. And you can do it with a 7, of course. Even if you with an inversion. And again, you can do that all the way up here, which is something that they do quite a lot. And you can do it slowly or fast, shuffle, swing, all the different variations. So let me just do a little one here. So you might kind of go. Now, to take that further, you can do them in like descending patterns, which sounds quite nice. Maybe I'll do this one because I quite like this one. So let me just do it, slow it down, and I'll do the rolling one. But now I'm going to roll it down quickly. So all the way up, you're going to go. That happens quite a lot. Let me do it on F. They're just little bits that you're going to put into a longer improvisation, of course, but that's quite a nice idea. So there I played the inversion and the root. I started on the inversion, C, E flat, F, A, and then the root position, F, A, C, E flat, then the same inversion, then the root, then the inversion. But I rolled it. That's what makes it sound very boogie-woogie-ish. So it's a nice finger workout, that one. So that's banging and rolling chords, and you just really want to get that pattern down. Because that's what you hear a lot. And of course you can just do it like that, where you just literally just go down like that. You could go up, of course. Of course. You can do that a lot as well. Slide off the minor, slide off the flat 5, and just go up. That kind of thing, you know. So that's the chordy part. Number 2, I wrote it down as lick repetition. This one is where you choose any lick, as it's known as, a riff lick. A riff is more continuous. A lick is just a one-off thing, and let's just make up one on the spot. So let's maybe go something like, what can we do? There you go, nice little one in there. But you'll repeat that as the chords change, and because of musical context, it works. I mean, that shouldn't work in blues, because the E, when we get to the F chord, the 4 chord, that's a major 7. That's romantic. That's not bluesy. We want the blues. We don't want the romance. So we're going to play. It's going to work. It's still going to work. So I'll do it with maybe this one. Now F. On G. So you just kind of do the same lick over and over again, tiny variations. You can literally do one same exact lick without any variations, where something like a common one is where they kind of have the octave, the flat 5 to the 4, and then the minor. So it's something like, you just slow that down. It's going to go, it's like all these 3 notes happen at the same time. So it's like root, and then it's the flat 5 and the octave and the 4, but like that's one. It's kind of like, all of that is considered like one note, I suppose. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we do that with a what one does that work with? Yeah, that's like that, and then off. You see, that's how it works. I got into the rhythm there because there's a slight delay on that. It's kind of like that's how it works. It sounds quite nice. So it's just a repeated, lick repetition, I'm calling it. And that could be anything. That could literally just be 2 notes. It might just be kind of going like, that's very common. You see, that is a major 7. It shouldn't be bluesy, but it is because of the musical context. And if you want to avoid that, you could go to the D and the E flat and go like, you get the idea. So a lick repetition is very, very common, and it could even be a longer lick. It could be just some like, just some really long kind of, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just playing the blues scale. And you just do that repetitively. Another common one actually is where they go like this. You go the minor, the 3rd, 5, 6, octave. Yeah, you have to put another note in there. Oh, from the D, there you go. But up here, you know, I'm doing it all the way up here. Same notes. I know it's off the camera, but I'm playing D, E flat, E, G, A, C, just all the way up here. That's the kind of boogie-woogie stuff that you like. So get that down. Lick repetition. The third one I've got is triplets. This happens a lot. A lot of licks are based on 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can count to 6 if you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because it might be that kind of lick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just depends how many notes are in it. So I actually just did one there actually with that repetition. That's a lick repetition using a triplet. And of course you want to hit nice notes, minor to the 3rd. You might do one with the 3 and the flat 5 to the 5. So, and then maybe when you get to the F, you'll play the E flat because it's a dominant 7, and then the G flat to the G, which is the 9, flat 9 to 9. That kind of thing. So that's quite a nice thing to do. When you get to G, a nice way to do the triplets one is to put the root and the 7 on top, and then slide off the flat 5, and you get this kind of like, it's quite nice. You could go all the way up here. I'm literally off the piano because I'm all the way up there, but you get this kind of, well, one of the notes isn't working. I have to come down a bit. It was confusing me because it wasn't coming out. This. So it sounds quite nice when it's up there. So there you go. What else could we do? This was in part 2. I did this as a triplet in part 2. Root 7, minor, 3, 4. But it's a triplet, and you can create your own triplets. It could be anything. You might just kind of go, you might just do that. Oh, another one is a descending triplet pattern where you play the 7 and the 3 on top and go 6, 5. And then you do the minor and the 6 or the 5 on top and go 2, 1. So 7 and 3, B flat E in the key of C, 6, 5, minor and the 6 on top, 2, 1, or minor and the 5 on top. But if you keep the 6 on top, it's the same spacing. You don't have to move your fingers. Sounds the same. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That sounds quite nice. And you can do it going up. You can just move it around. A 1 in F would be E flat and A. Maybe you could get this one with A flat and D for the minor. You just get that feeling of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So triplets, really, really nice. I'm just thinking that you can actually mix that one with the descending chord thing, where you kind of go like, you can kind of mix it together with a chord one, something like with the rolling chords. It'd be something like that kind of thing. What I'm feeling is a kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here I'm just playing like from again, it's just all the blues notes. Minor, flat 5, 6, dominant 7. Well, not in this case, but 6. I'm just kind of going like, I'm playing off, I'm sliding off the minor and the flat 5, playing the 6 and the octave, and then just rolling down, and then just doing what I've showed you. Flat 3, sorry, minor on top, what am I talking about? Dominant 7, 3rd on top, 6, 5, and just putting them together in a kind of 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you just mix and match all of these, and you'll have endless joy. The next one I wrote down is double grace note. This is a really good finger workout. You can make it as a technical exercise away from blues because it just sounds great. But and this happens a lot. And you're going to also do it with another note on top, like the octave or the dominant 7. You have to get used to this. You have to use the index and the middle, and you're going to go. So just try it on the minor of C. Slide off the E flat to the E with the middle, E flat to the D with the index. And then in F, you might do it on the A flat, so you've got A and G beside it. Maybe the C and the D could be on the D in the key of G. That would be the 4 and the 5 with the flat in the middle. So maybe as a technical exercise, just get used to doing that on all the combinations. Just over the D flat, over the E flat, over the G flat, over the A flat, and over the B flat. As a technical exercise. I'm actually just touching the index finger on the first note, just first. I'm going to go. Like that. But really quickly. That happens a lot. If I just put that with a little, and just do that as a riff. Let me do it properly. You see, it's really, really nice. Now you can kind of do that idea with a kind of, like a kind of, with the 7 on top. I'm doing it in G here. So I'm kind of going, but the F is on top, so it's just, D, the 1 to the D is being played with the F on top. And then sliding down D flat C to the G. I'm also just adding the other one, B flat to B to G with an F on top. Which is just another kind of, another triplet one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You see, you just got to practice all of these little techniques. So the double grace note is really, really great, and you can do that in a descending running pattern, I guess, in a kind of. Really, really nice thing to be able to do. The last one is octave melodies. Melodies, when you're just doing them individually, it kind of just sounds a bit jazzy, but there's just something about doing it in octaves that makes it sound nicer, because sometimes you can even kind of add a note, like a sliding, like a grace note in the middle of your octave melody. Most of it's going to be based on the blues scale. You can add a 2 and a 6, which makes it sound nice. You can even put the major 7 in there as a passing note sometimes. But you just make these melodies with octaves. So let me just, I'll just do a slow little boogie-woogie there. I'm just going to stay in the key of C. And just going to make, like, you're going to highlight the 1 and the 3 and the 5, of course, the dominant 7, the 5, I've said that already, the flat 5 and the minor. And I'm just going to do the melodies as octaves. But sometimes I'm just going to put, like, its third, like what would be E flat chord. I'm just putting the its third in there, or even its 5, because in the key of C, that's the 5 and the dominant 7. In the key of E flat, it's 3 and 5. So it just kind of works. And even if you play one that's not theoretically correct, because of the musical context, because it's just like one mistake, it just kind of sounds like, okay, it's acceptable. As Monk said, there's no wrong notes in jazz. So let me just do a little simple octave. I'll just stay in the key of C. See, I passed over the major 7. And that's how I did a grace note onto the 5. See, I did a little octave wobble, I call it. A nice wobble. So doing stuff with octaves is quite nice. And again, it's, you can do it with the shuffle. this kind of works, and with the Boogie-Woogie thing here. You get the idea, you can just play around. So those techniques, when you just mix and match them, you can just come up and literally compose your own Boogie-Woogie, 12-bar blues Boogie-Woogie. So there you go, that's really it. Hopefully that's been of use to you, and you can combine this with 1 and 2, get the left-hand patterns down, learn the 2 rounds of 12-bar blues I did in part 2, and then add your own 3rd time, 4th time round of 12-bar blues using these things. So just to remind you, you got the banging, rolling chords, the lick repetition. I know you can't see it, I'm just saying it for you myself. The triplets, the double grace note, definitely good, and these octave melodies, which just sound a bit better than just doing individually. Of course that sounds nice as well, but that was a bit more jazzy, so I wanted to just highlight it with octaves because it slows you down a bit. You can't kind of do all this quick stuff with octaves, it's not possible, so it kind of slows you down, makes it a bit more purposeful. So there you go, hopefully it's been of use to you. I'm going to go and feed the cats. As always, likes, comments, subscriptions are always welcome. Have a look at my video management website, water pianism syllabus, and perhaps Patreon, and I will see you in the next video. All the best, and bye for now.